Greetings and salutations, I am the Dragon Barrows, and this is a Nerdsville. I am addressing Mr. Jack Buckby from Rebel Media. You say that with the great actress herself, Miss Jodie Whittaker, being the next Doctor, is virtually a farce, a thing that will tarnish the legacy of the Doctor. When, in 1989, the creator, or the person who illustrated the first ever Doctor series, Sidney Newman, he himself said, "The Doctor must be a female. The Doctor must be a female." He had Joanna Lumley, he had Dawn French, and like-minded women to become the next Doctor after Colin Baker. But the BBC said no, therefore we have Sylvester McCoy now. Now, let me just premise this, as it will. You say it destroys science fiction, it destroys the fandom of Doctor Who, it destroys this, it destroys that, it destroys so many things, and it destroys you as a nerd and as a fan of Doctor Who. Since you say that you are British and you enjoy and you want to keep the Doctor the way he is, the way the character has been for many years, a male who takes on females and sometimes blokes in this particular, on these adventures. Going to America, going to Europe, and come to Australia. And to be honest with you, as an Australian and as a science fiction fan, yelling out "shark attack" in the middle of a damn cafeteria is the biggest bullshit line to scare anyone in Australia. It could have said serial killer, backpack serial killer. He's going to enter the store soon. Would have been a far better line than shark attack. Let me see. Small island of Britain. Thought that was funny. Huge island of Australia. Insult. So, Mr. Buckby, you can take this to the bank. Now, back to that little bit of grievances is, let's just say, I had to get off my chest. Now I'm just going to get down to the nitty-gritty. If people like Sidney Newman said, the Doctor must become a woman, and that is the person that created it, who in the world are you to judge the BBC for finally catching up to Mr. Sidney Newman? Well, Newman's goal to have a woman pilot the TARDIS. If a great visionary in Sam Newman said it must happen, what right do you have to question his creation? Or question the creator for the direction of the creation? This is one thing that you and other so-called proper Doctor Who fans have said over for this past year and a bit, knowing that the wonderful actress Jodie Whittaker will soon will soon play the Doctor full time for maybe 3, 4. I hope she has a long run as the first ever female Doctor. And you're showing a video clip of like the glass ceiling being shattered and all this and all these glass windows being blasted out away. To be honest with you, I agree that's a bit that's pushing an agenda. They could have had a guy who looks like Mr. Sidney Newman, spoke like Sidney Newman, to say, finally my son has become my daughter. Because that's showing respect to the creator of the creation known as Doctor Who. This is you. you keep on saying, "Oh, it ruined my childhood. It's ruining my nerding. It's ruining this. It's ruining that. It's ruining the other." Let's see. Captain Janeway, first female captain in the Star Trek series. You gotta look at, since you want to call yourself a nerd, you got the glasses and you're skinny as oh shit. You say this. How about let's look at another piece of science fiction, Sailor Moon, whose mythos states that the lead woman or the lead hero is a little schoolgirl, followed by her school friends as they go into battle to face these interdimensional, interplanetary forces. And let me just add this. Have you heard of a character called Romana? And I'm going back to Doctor Who now. Romana, Time Lady, on the TARDIS. Equally as crazy, if not a little bit more so, than Tom Baker's Doctor. And it was him who had to pull her in line. Have you forgotten that piece of Doctor Who history? You want to say, oh, the women are there to make sure that the Doctor doesn't kill, the Doctor doesn't do so much destruction, the Doctor doesn't do this. The females are there to balance out the Doctors. But really, what race are all of these women? Humans. What race? Humans. For the exception of Missy, Romana, and maybe a few other females who have come from different species, different different races, different planets. Most of them have been 100% Earthlings who have been keeping the Doctor safe. Rory and Mickey, just to speak of a more modern audience, were all Earthling men, all Earthling blokes, all earthling chaps, whatever you want to call these testosterone-filled characters. If you want to, you can call on a few other males from previous doctors. Wasn't one of the first human companions a male teacher of the doctor's granddaughter Susan? One of the first companions was a male, and he kept the doctor in check. A male keeping another male in check. What you have always what you have been saying in this video that you have produced, have said, oh, it's the women do this, the women do that, the women, me. Yes, I meet you. But the simple reason is, if you actually said that you say that you're a fan, that you say, oh, since I am British, I am a huge fan of on the show. Guess what? No, you don't have to be British and enjoy the show. I am an Australian and I don't like cricket. I'm an Australian and I don't like Home and Away. I don't like Neighbours. I'm an Australian. I don't like those pieces of pop culture. I don't like those pieces of Australian culture. The way you have spoken is like you condemn the BBC for something that, from your mannerisms, clearly don't give a shit about. The reason why you're doing this is because of some perceived sense of pop cultural justice being going, I'm outraged. You are triggered by something that the creator, as I keep bringing this up because I need to get it through your thick head. I need to get through other so-called Doctor Who fans' thick, demented skulls. If it is Mr. Sidney Newman who have said countless times in interviews on TV, radio, or in print, if he said the Doctor must become a woman, and this, it comes from a person who is a male who has on more than one occasion been accused of chauvinism, alleged chauvinism. Who are you to stand in judgment? What I see from you and what I see from other people like you are not real. You can't call yourselves the real fans. You see, let me just say this. I am against all this social justice warrior bullshit. I'm anti-political correctness. That's me. But yet, if a creator of a piece of media, art form, or cultural contributions, if they said that the woman is to be the lead, well then I, as a true fan of the piece of culture, the piece of fandom, the piece of media, if it says that the the character is going to be this way, guess what? I will follow the artist's, the contributor, the author's vision for that particular piece of media, or the piece of culture, or the piece of fandom. like for me, I am currently writing a diary-based novel of a female cosplayer who will be a lesbian or a female homosexual. I'm not writing that down. I'm not writing that. Also, the lead character is an Asian schoolgirl. So that is what I envision for the art. That's what I envision for the novels to come out. But yet, I know people like you say, "Oh, you're just doing this, and this to appease the LGBT community, this community, that community, that some other community." I am not appeasing anyone. I just see the character going in a certain direction, and I will write the character to go in that direction. I'm not going to change my mind because of people like you saying this, and this. I am the author. I am the father. I am the creator of this Japanese schoolgirl character. And I'm anti. As I said, I'm anti-political correctness. I'm anti-social justice warrior. I am anti-appeasing to the idiocracy of the lunacy of the Confederacy of Dunces. Subsequently, you have fallen into Mr. Buckby and people like you. There's one thing you gotta learn. If the original creator said this, shut up and enjoy the product. If it's insulting to you, there's one thing you can do. Say, I'm no longer a fan of Doctor Who. They're going this way, I won't watch it on Sunday night in the UK, or over here in Australia, Monday evening. We won't watch it. You can say that. You can watch something else. You can watch reruns of the old Doctor Who episodes if you're that way inclined. But you got to realize that that the character is a female that has become a female shouldn't stop you from enjoying the product. It's not like they are paying huge amounts of money. The BBC is paying huge amounts of money into this female empowerment courses. They're not paying this much money into women's rights advocacy groups. They're not paying this much money into this field or some other field where it's social justice warrior or political correctness mumbo jumbo. But the way you are acting, it's illogical and very much detrimental to all fans of Doctor Who. And virtually, you're literally insulting me. You are telling me, Mr. Buckby, what you are telling me as a Doctor Who fan, I shouldn't enjoy watching Doctor Who because of the Doctor being Jodie Whittaker. As I've posted on this video, on this platform, I welcome Jodie Whittaker. I welcome her fans into the family of Doctor Who fandom. But the simple reason is, the fandom of Jodie Whittaker can bring a new level or more fans into the product. I started watching when Matt Smith was the Doctor. I've seen the first episode of the 11th Hour. First starring Matt Smith. Some people say, he's my Doctor, and I should have been pissed off when Peter Capaldi came in. You know what? I was upset when Matt Smith left the show. I was upset. But then I looked at Peter Capaldi and I'm like, oh, okay. He's going to bring... I did some research on him. He's going to bring something else to the character. I've got DVDs from the first Doctor. I've got second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. The movie with the 8th, 9th, and 10th. And I can see what each person or each actor has brought into the premise, which is Doctor Who, like the actual character. Thornton, the first Doctor. He brought a gravitas of that gentleman who is a thinker who can educate people. Sorry, Hartness brought that. Thornton brought more of a comical situation. Pertwee brought in a bit more of the working alongside people who in an environment that he has been thrusted in, all because of his own people exiled him. He brought that, you know. Okay, now this is going. I have to go this way, but then I'm going that way. Then you brought in Tom Baker, which is a very popular old school Doctor, and he brought like a different gravitas to the Doctor role. Then like with usage of the massive scarf, being able to use it as a measuring instrument and that. Then you got Peter Davis, the 5th Doctor. He brought something else, like more of a sportsman type attitude to the work of the Doctor. Then you got Colin Baker, who was a bit more of a dry, dark, comedic type. Then you got the Sylvester McCoy, who was over here in Australia we call him a larrikin. A larrikin is a man who is very much a man or a woman whose wisdom comes through humor. And I have one of my former neighbors, before he passed away, a larrikin. He was a wise man, but yet he educated you in a form of humor. That is what Sylvester McCoy brought to the role. Peter McCann, though he was only in there for like one movie, brought a slightly romantic, Shakespearean type feeling to the Doctor. That's another thing. Then you got Christopher Eccleston. I've watched him. I watched him in. When I heard about him being a Doctor, I watched a few of his movies. One of them being Gone in 60 Seconds. And seeing that, he brought like a badass attitude to the Doctor. Though like the emotions were still there, but yeah, he brought this badass sort of characteristics. He was like, and now for my next trick, boom! Like he's like that bravado, that badassery. Then you got David Tennant. David Tennant, with him being the 10th Doctor, Badum Ching, he brought a bit of Shakespearean, slightly comedic, and a bit more whimsic methods to it. Seeing that in the Doctor, or just enhances it, where he's used bits and pieces of what he has learned from each Doctor who come before him, including his father-in-law, Peter Davison. Then after David Tennant came Matt Smith. Matt Smith brought a youthful, jolly, I'm invincible type of characteristic to the Doctor. Then you had Peter Capaldi, just recently being the 12th Doctor. He brought that old school, like that, I would have to say, a British version of John Wayne. But yet he also brought a little bit of bit more of a sensitive side. So he brought those two dynamics into the fray of the Doctor. And it was just so amazing to see that. But yet, bits and pieces of previous Doctors have been in that Doctor too. Now, since the Doctor is now Jodie Whittaker, she's an amazing actress. She has a useful characteristic similar to Matt Smith. She has qualities that is Thornton and McCoy. She has that sort of characteristics of like the jovial side, and that's what I've seen in in other forms of media that she's been in, like the Centrinians movies. I've seen her in. She could bring more of a ditzy role to the Doctor, like being a bit more forgetful, like to say, "Oh, did I lock the TARDIS? Did I lock the TARDIS? Is the chameleon circuit still functioning after all this time?" She could bring that sort of ditzy forgetfulness into the role of the Doctor. We do not know. And for you, Jack Buckby, to say she is going to bring the downfall of the Doctor, I say this: how dare you? How dare you go and attack an actress for just doing a job? Guessing you are, and let me just say this: guessing you are the same sort of person. If your coffee is a bit too hot, you'll go up to the barista. If you go to a cafe, if you go to like a fast food chain, you would accuse the person who served you for something that is extremely too hot, and you find it hard to drink. Or guessing you're the one of the people that would just abuse one person or another for various reasons. And let me say this. One last thing to say to you, Jack Buckby from Rebel Media. You are a idiot. You are a fool. You sit in the confederacy of dunces. And on that note, I shall say to you, I shall tell you to people like you, open up your heart to Jodie Whittaker, or leave Doctor Who forever. Sell all your merchandise. Sell your miniature TARDISes, sell all your sonic screwdrivers, sell costumes that you have made from various doctors. Sell all your DVD collections, sell your doors if you painted them the color of the TARDIS. Sell all your posters, sell all your figurines, sell everything, and forget that you were ever a fan of Doctor Who. As you are so wound up over Jodie Whittaker taking the sonic screwdriver and marching on from Peter Capaldi. I am Dragon Burrows, and I just burnt you.